Canadians won't be fooled by Putin propaganda on Ukraine, Trudeau says.
Here's a summary of the article.
Trudeau made the remark after he was asked about Russian President Vladimir Putin's recent interview with Tucker Carlson. The President of Ukraine stood up with the entire Parliament of Canada and applauded this man. "How can this be imagined?" Putin said through a translator in an interview shared Thursday evening. Putin has claimed that he invaded Ukraine to defeat neo-Nazis, something Western counties have dismissed as propaganda. Trudeau told reporters on Friday Putin will use whatever propaganda he can to try and justify the ongoing invasion of Ukraine. Canada stands with Ukraine, not just because we are friends to Ukraine, but because the rules-based order and the system of laws and the UN Charter protect all of us, not just Ukrainians. For weeks, Trudeau has slammed Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and singled out many of his members of parliament for voting against an updated free trade agreement with Ukraine. Poilievre says while his party supports Ukraine's in the war against Russia, it opposes consumer carbon prices and stands against the revised agreement because the text mentions that both Ukraine and Canada agree to promote carbon pricing. Ukraine has had a price on carbon for years.
This post received a score of 6,900, with an upvote ratio of 90%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
We literally had Tucker Carlson here last week.
Yeah, I know plenty of Canadians who will 150% be fooled by Putin or already have been.
I'm Canadian and one whole side of my family is Trump, Putin supporters that think lizard people are trying to make their heads explode with 5 grams. I wish I was joking.
Yet my parents were Trump supporters. However, they're 100% Ukraine. So they won't support Putin. The cognitive dissonance is real.
I still find it weird that there are Canadians that care enough about Trump to be supporters. I guess US politics do affect the rest of the world, and we're close neighbors, but still.
I married into a Canadian family. It was so bizarre the first time I visited my in-laws to find that they watch all the same political shows, Daily Show, Bill Maher. Americans do and don't even bother with Canadian content. I've lived in Canada for 3 years now and I'm still not even sure it exists. Now, sitcoms on the other hand. We're ride or die for Letterkenny in this house.
I may be in a minority but I'll watch This Hour has 22 minutes as a Canadian, but that vibe is pretty much spot on. Canadians are defined by not being Americans, while consuming almost exclusively their content.
Pretty optimistic take IMO. Canadians are too smart to fall for Russian propaganda about the war in Ukraine. Maybe JT hasn't heard that famous George Carlin line, think of how stupid the average person is, and realize half of them are stupider than that.
A person is smart. People are stupid. Agent K.
Long live the intelligence of the mob. The intelligence of a mob can be determined by dividing the lowest IQ present by the number of people in the mob.
Russian propaganda frames its message in a way that confirms people's biases. Sometimes, people will choose to be fooled, simply because they like the implications.
Exactly. Russian propaganda textbooks are very smart, but ruthless.
There are a lot of dumbass Canadians who would be very susceptible to Russian misinformation. The Freedom Convoy crowd, for a start. These dipshits even complained about the government violating their First Amendment rights. As Canadians, we don't have First Amendment rights. That's the US Constitution, bozos. I know we all, Trudeau included, would like to believe that we're smarter and better informed than our neighbors to the south, but it simply isn't true in all cases.
I mean, I want him to be right, but Canada paints a more dire picture.
At work today I heard quite a few people saying Putin made sense and Tucker is a G for doing the interview. Guess those Canadians loved it.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.